Ever wondered what it's really like to work at one of the big fours? The prestige, the pressure, and everything in between? Today I'm sharing my personal experience inside the big four world. Working at a big four firm, be it Deloitte, PwC, KPMG, or EY, often feels like the holy treasure for many of the professionals, and I've seen how aspiring they were to get into these organizations. It's kind of a badge of honor that opens doors to endless opportunities, and yes, I have been fortunate to experience this firsthand. But today, I want to give you a peek behind the curtain. I'll share the highs, the lows, and the reality of what working at a big four is truly like. First, let's talk about good stuff, which is about the prestige and the opportunities that these firms give you. The prestige of working at a big four is quite real, whether you are in audit, consulting, tax, or advisory, or even for enabling areas for that matter. The exposure to high profile clients, cutting edge projects and technologies, and global networks is certainly unmatched to any organization that you may see. You're learning from the best of the best, and it pushes you to level up constantly. Absolutely, the brand name has a lot of weightage, and there wouldn't be anyone who are unaware of this name. And you take great pride in working there, which is a value in itself. In my experience, working with top tier clients felt like being on the front lines of the industry. I was constantly learning, constantly challenged every single year, and I was able to keep my learning graph constantly high as everything was evolving. I didn't have to switch the organization even after a decade. I left in 2021 because I had to move to Canada, as otherwise I would have been working there even to date. And there was never a day that I regretted working at one of the big fours. Let's get into the workload and the pressure in these organizations. And yes, for sure, it's real. Along with prestige comes pressure and a lot of it. The workload at a big four can be intense, especially during the busy seasons, which are the peak seasons, which typically vary from the kind of business area that you are part of. And there's always a project deadline, an urgent client request, or an internal target that you need to meet. If you're not careful and stay strategic about it, it's easy to burn out during that busy period. And this is exactly why the conversation around work life balance at Big Fours is becoming crucial. While firms are making strides in offering flexibility, the reality is that the culture can still push you forward to overwork. I don't think so. It's kind of an organization where you are enabled to work only 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 kind of a thing. I remember there were weeks where the work seemed never ending, and the 24 hours was never enough what I meant to complete. As I had the flexibility to work from home sometimes, but that didn't mean the workload lightened up. Let's see work life balance in these organizations. Is it a myth or a reality? The truth is, work life balance at Big Four depends a lot on you, your team, and the business area that you operate in. While there are policies in place, the nature of the work often demands long hours. And for me, I found the balance was possible, but it required setting firm boundaries. I had to learn when to say no to extra work or when to delegate it to somebody else within the team if my hands are full. But here's something worth noting. Post pandemic, there has been a shift. More professionals are advocating and endorsing for better and mental health support and realistic workloads, and big fours are starting to listen. And with the episode of EY, Deloitte has intervened to introspect on their work practices and the workload offerings that they have on their fellow professionals. So, does these organizations give you a lifelong connections, or is it a cutthroat competition amongst its own employees? And one of the misconceptions about Big Four is that it's full of cutthroat competition, that you need to compete with each other and you will not be able to build connections. Sure, there is competition, but my experience has been that collaboration and teamwork are valued just as much as competition. Your colleagues can become your biggest asset. The mentorship opportunities, the learning from peers, those experiences are invaluable that you would carry on for lifelong. And I had colleagues who went out on their way to help, especially during crunch time, especially during the busy season. You will probably working 16 hours or 18 hours in a day, which is about 2 to 3 months period for sure. As there were moments of competition, but at the end of the day, teamwork kept the projects moving to meet the deadlines as committed. And what kind of career growth and exit opportunities does these organizations give you? And one of the benefits, and which is the biggest one, of working at Big Fours is the incredible career growth. Promotions happen faster, and your skills are constantly evolving. And I've witnessed people have been getting promoted every 2 years, and at the eighth year mark, there are people become senior managers, and 10-year or 12-year mark that people become managing directors. So that's everything was possible in terms of the hierarchical growth or vertical growth that you can see, along with your horizontal aspects of it. The value in it, whether you stay for a few years or make a long term career, the exit opportunities are endless. As a Big Four alumni, you are on high demand across all the industries because you might have seen plenty of problems and how you might have solved in this kind of a work environment. In my own journey, the skills I learned, especially in leadership, client management, or stakeholder management, and the strategic part of it, have been critical to my career growth. And I still carry those valuable lessons to date. Let's get into the interesting part of mental health and the burnout aspects, which have been some of the topics that are on the limelight these days. Big Fours are notorious for long hours, and yes, burnout is a real concern in these organizations. I've seen colleagues struggle with the constant pressure. Personally, I found ways to manage stress, but it's an issue the industry needs to address more directly because each individual can handle it differently based on the capabilities, the strengths, and how can they say no in some scenarios and which one they can take and which one they cannot. It's individually managed and capabilities are varying from person to person. But the good news is the mental health is becoming more of a focus with firms introducing wellness programs and counseling services within the organizations. But of course, there's still a long way to go, especially in countries like India. So you might think, what's the reality of Big Four work culture? I would say it's a mix, for sure. There's prestige, growth, and opportunity, but also intense pressure and the risk of burnout are expected. And these organizations may not be for everyone, but if you can navigate the challenges, the rewards are certainly there in these firms. If you have worked at a Big Four or are thinking about work into these organizations, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What's been your experience with Big Four work culture? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more insights into the world of work, career growth, and everything in between. Once again, thank you for watching Grit Tales.